I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the share, where Miss Dream always has a story.
I'm Dream, a black woman with many beautiful interconnecting identities. A few I will name at this moment as we get started on this podcast journey together. A Bostonian, born and raised in the inner city, Dorchester and Roxbury neighborhoods, to a teenage single mother who has my whole heart. An educator, I've been working with youth and children since my teenage years, and formally, I have been teaching almost a decade now. That's wild to think about. An entrepreneur, I am the founder of The Chair, a black and brown centered tech platform dedicated to supporting people on their hair journey, where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a more joyous experience. I have a workable site, my prototype. It took me 2 years to build, and now I'm on this adventure that you're currently on with me. My goal for this podcast is to share stories, black stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and hair stories. I want you to leave each episode with the opportunity to gain new insight, just a glimpse into my world or the worlds that are featured on my podcasts, a little chuckle during your day or night, possibly a little anger to encourage you to advocate for justice, and hope to continue learning and dreaming. So come in and listen to the beautiful voices in the chair as they share their stories, starting with me.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, everyone. This is Naadirah. Naadirah, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, you guys, I'm Naadirah. I'm from New York. I'm a young lady. My pronouns are she, her. I think I am a pretty chill, calm person. Let me not say calm, but I'm pretty chill. I love doing camera work. That's been my thing. I love capturing people. I think that's been my drive behind doing camera work. And then I love people like I love creating stories and whatnot and creating things that make people feel something. Like whether that's like a negative feeling and that was the goal, or whether that's something that makes you cry, whether that's something that's super positive, whether that's something you look at and you can just tell, like you can relate to someone through an image, things like that. I like to be a part of. I graduated college in 2020 and I didn't go to like film school or anything. I went to like a regular liberal arts school, but I knew like camera work and being behind the scenes, doing creative things was definitely always something I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I've been doing it after college. It's been super slow due to the aftermath of the strike that happened in the midst of like last year and whatnot. So it's been slow. So I recently picked up like 2 part-time jobs, which I think is really funny. Only because things were picking up for me career wise. And I was like, wow, I skipped over the whole like struggling artist part-time job. This
Mm.
is what I do to actually make money. And then the strike happened. I was like, oh no, I need jobs. So that's what I do now. But life's been cool. It's been chilling. That's who I am.
Is there something that you want to build that's tickling the back of your mind that you're starting to slowly build with the skills you're learning? Or is there a screenplay? Because now you're not only like you work in the field of camera, the field of storytelling, the field of media. So you do a little bit of everything.
Yes, I like recently came into more so accepting that thought as well. So first love, someone's like, what position do you want? I'll be like, oh, put me on the camera team, behind the camera. I want to operate. I want to DP, stuff like that. But I also realized from watching other directors in various settings, I think I like directing
Mm.
a bit. I think it's something that I can do. And again, I think it comes down to dealing with people. I've also sat in on I have like my step uncle is an actor and I one time sat and did a little bit of like video work for his class. What's great about it is that I got to watch this like master actors class
Mm.
and got a lot of just tips and pointers about certain things and I'm like, this is really good knowledge for a director because the director is the person that's communicating. Again, just it's all communicating with people, like communicating with the actors in particular about what they want from the scene. And there's like a language sometimes that goes with that as well. And nothing in particular, but literally just like knowing how to portray what you want, knowing how to interact with that particular actor in person, knowing how to adjust to different actors and people.
Mm.
Again, kind of coming down to also making them comfortable, especially when you're doing photography, I think as well, because it's not like I need you to act like this. In photography, it's like, I need you to act like this, but I need you to do it still. Or rather, I need you to also do it in motion, but maybe do it 100 times or little stuff like that. And like small words and stuff can like kind of tweak how that, whatever they're giving to you, how it comes out because it's how they understand it. But definitely kind of directing, and slowly but surely, I think I'm getting like it's not really slow. It's something that I knew would happen or eventually would happen. But like you said, it was just a matter of gaining the skill sets and seeing how things actually get done and seeing that process. I do want to start just producing, I think, my own work, but then I get nervous. And I think that's, again, my own just mental block that tends to happen sometimes when I want to do my own shit.
Mm.
I do want to produce my own work, but I think I get nervous about being like, oh, does that mean it's all me? And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean it's all me because that's like hard as fuck. And I've been like, I have friends that are on the same level as me, but their angle might be different. They might be more into one thing. And I've been big on the idea of a lot of times we're taught to branch up and network upward so we can meet people to give us opportunities and this and that. But I think it's super, super important to branch out as well.
Mm.
I consider this even what we're doing branching out. And that's like talking to people that you actually know who are also doing something maybe similar or different, but can still come together to create something without it being, oh, we got to contact so and so, but they're so out of reach because they just do so much other things or whatever the case may be. And really just starting to realize, no, I have a skill set that I've grown. I have friends who are on the same level doing different things. It's like, what's stopping us from coming together and putting our minds to it and quote unquote doing passion projects and just seeing what we can do, what we have or what we can get access to that doesn't necessarily have to be some $1 million budget thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Like I have something coming up with another friend I recently met, and she's writing this short with one of her friends. And I told them like, oh well, I do camera work. And they're like, we have no one for camera. And I was like, I would love to be part of this because it's something that is interesting, like the storyline and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, let me see now what I can, because it's the thought of what am I attaching my name to?
Mm.
I don't mean it in a way where it's like, what am I attaching my name to? But what does Naadirah Moore do? I've gotten that question sometimes too. What's your niche? And I'm like, I don't have a niche per se yet because I don't produce a lot of my own stuff yet.
Mm.
I'm still in the realm where I say yes to almost everything because I'm interested and curious and I kind of want to know how almost everything works. So when people ask me that question, I'm like, my niche right now is capturing people. That's when you ask me what drives that feeling, I'm like, oh, I love capturing people, moments, things that make people feel at the moment. But producing my own work has been the tickle and actually sitting down and fleshing out my own ideas and bringing them. I realize I think I need to bring my ideas to people who actively like to write versus me who I'm like, oh, like I'll probably jot down, I'll storyboard something. If it's a really strong visual and I'm like, I really want to get this out, I'll storyboard it first than anything and then add like writing to it.
Mm.
But I won't always sit down and just write.
Hearing you talk makes me think about two people. It makes me think about Issa Rae. I love watching her interviews, and she talked a lot about when she first got started. A lot of the actors in her YouTube videos were friends, and how everybody was just a friend who ended up. She just was like, "Hey, we all have these ideas. Let's come together."
Yeah.
And then just she just kept building and building from there. And then I just finished reading Michaela Cole, her personal manifesto. It's called Misfits. She's the one who wrote Chewing Gum and I May Destroy You.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. The
yes.
yeah, the black woman from London, and her personal manifesto. If you get a chance to read it more, you should. It's extremely short. It's one of those little tiny books. You can read it in a day. But she
What's
kept,
it called?
it's called Misfits.
Yes. Okay.
And she basically just goes through how she became the actress she is, but she talks through it through these little stories. And the big lesson that I took away from it, she said, one of the most powerful words that she has is no. So when someone wanted to change the way she approached the episode, she could say no. If someone offered her money for this, but then she wouldn't have all her creativity, she said no. When racism was happening, she was like, no, I'm not going to stand for this. And it was just basically highlighting that in a world that she loves so much, that there's so much, like it can get convoluted, but it could also be scary. It could also be foggy, and you just don't really know. Or you're coming up against things that are, you're attacking it is the way it is statements.
Right.
And she kept bringing that up. And I was like, yeah, when I think about anything related to art, anything related to difference, I started building my tech hair platform, which is would be considered beauty tech, because I had this idea. And people are like, well, this idea doesn't really exist. How does this make sense? But I'm like, well, if I have this idea, then
Right.
how can I build it? And it started with building with people I knew to help me think through. It started with a whole bunch of sticky notes on my wall that didn't make any sense. It started with paper covering my floor, and I'm FaceTiming friends to be like, hey, I have these thoughts. It started with really mismatched PowerPoint presentations. And
Yeah.
I think about that often when it comes to artists like yourself who are in the process of building. So I hope you never lose the tickle, and I'm excited to see your own work.
Thank you also for saying that. Because I think again, I think it's a lovely reminder, and then people don't. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for sharing that, because people don't always share the grind part or the backgrounds, or like you said, like the very very starter up look of things. And when people are like, well, how are you going to do that? Everything starts as an idea. Everything starts, it's never, there's a lot of things today that's convenient, that's already, but even the things that we have today, like it started out as an idea. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So iPhones at one point, I'm pretty sure, was like, that's ridiculous, but it was someone's scientific sci-fi idea that came too. So, but I think I really need to hear that, because again, it's been slow, and sometimes it feels like a mental block. And I don't think I've ever said it, but I do admire all the things you do, because a lot of times it seems like it's always like a, I want to do this, and then you make it happen. It's so inspirational, and I feel like it sounds so small, but I don't, to me, that's, I struggle with stuff like that. Like I will say things for the longest, I realize, before I make it happen, or before I start doing, okay, let me actually do the steps. And I feel like I look away, you say one thing, I'm like, that sounds so cool, and then I turn around and it's like, hey, so you remember that thing I was talking about? And it's something super like solid already, and I'm like, this is amazing. Super inspirational, honestly. So
I appreciate
thank
that.
you for
Thank you.
sharing. Of course.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hair boards made by people like you for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress free. Join the chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair. The chair. The chair. All right.
Even though it's hard with the idea, I think sometimes it's just helpful to talk to people who just support you. One of my professors, I always think about this line: big ideas don't die when you talk about it out loud. He said ideas die in little hallways, in passing by with people and just throwing that idea out and people brush it off. He was like, that's where ideas die. And just like that idea being like, hey, I have this thought, and then you're just like casually talking about it, and then someone's like, it's not good, and then you end up just shutting down. And I was like, that happens so much.
Yeah.
And I think I was thinking that specifically as a teacher in the classroom, being like, I've been around teachers who are like, oh, that drawing that kid did wasn't that great, and that kid is gonna internalize that. So I'm like, okay, well, if I have this idea, I'm not a part. Be like, oh, people are gonna steal it. No, I'm not a part of that camp, because the idea is the idea, but it's the execution, right? Also in business school, they were like, your idea is not special. Like it's how you execute it. Like they said that every day, because they're like, think about all the things that are made. They're like, ideas are not special. And I was like, And so it really just humbled
It's an
everybody.
interesting way to think about it.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
'cause it's like,
humbled
oh, you're right.
everybody.
You're right.
Yeah, you're like, okay, yes, TV shows exist. Yes, a mattress exists. Yes, computers exist. And you're like, okay, got it. I hear you. I got you. But but they're like, the execution.
How are you gonna do it?
How are you gonna do it, and the why behind it when it comes to beautiful art, when it comes to just you have an idea, being like, okay, well, I'm excited for you to be at camera work to these new friends you made, right? And thinking about, what does your name look like when it's attached to that? Or when your storyboards start to get more words, being able to be like, well, sometimes, hey, I have this idea, but let me talk to that friend who I know is going to support me, so I can at least flush it out some more.
Yes.
Is important. Or even the one thing that I'm learning, and it's like a new lesson for me, is starting a passion project and being okay if it doesn't finish, or starting a passion project and it changes. I'm a recovering perfectionist, so anything I start, I have an idea and I want it from A to B. I don't need it to turn to C. I don't need it to go F. Like, I don't need it to go left. I don't want that. But to be okay being like, well, if I start this, it's okay, because then it's the part of just being reminded that we can create as people.
And it doesn't mean that you can't go back to it neither. One of the things I think is fascinating too, and I love how things are so transferable, because as you were saying that, that literally reminds me of, there's so much work out there that when it gets put out or produced or whatever, so many stories of people saying, yeah, this is something I wrote like years ago that I didn't like, that I started writing and I put down, and but then I picked it back up one day and it just related, or this and that. And so that I also had to learn. Keep your work saved. If it's a plan that you, because you might even gain the skill set later on, and you might pick it back up and be like, oh, I know exactly how to execute this now, or I know exactly what this needs now, or now this might become part of another idea, and it was just a piece that you might have been building that you had no idea.
I'm a fan of Abbott Elementary.
It's
So
great.
you're right. As a fellow teacher, I'm like, this show's hilarious. Every teacher friend I know was like, Dream, you haven't seen this? Because I also don't have a TV. So I was like, no, I haven't seen the show. They're like, you need to watch it. So I was watching it on a plane. This is amazing. So then I digging into interviews, and my boy Tyler, that's his name. Everybody Hates Chris.
Nice. Okay, yes.
He said when he was talking about how Quinta was building this character with him in mind, and he just highlighted how somebody else could be building something for you and you don't know. And
Right.
I think about that a lot when I started building the chair. And okay, I'm not a software developer. How am I going to build this? And then a friend from camp, Megan Teddy, who I met 10 years prior, again, unrelated,
Yes.
she ends up being my graphic designer for the chair. So she ends up being my graphic designer, and she works for a company that has a software developer, and that software developer ends up working on my platform with me. So the three of us are working together. But I'm like, who knew
Amazing.
that a relationship from 10 years ago, unrelated to tech, unrelated to business, unrelated to beauty, is now a person who I was working intensely with for over a year and a half to build my platform.
Yes. See, and I love stuff like that. Because it's just kind of like, who would have thought, who would have knew, but it's something very genuine. You know what I'm saying? That's a genuine connection. And I feel like, again, emphasis on branching out.
Yeah, and she wasn't the first. So before, because I posted that I needed some support on Facebook, but before I made that post on Facebook, I talked to 6 software engineer people throughout, like, that. I went on LinkedIn and was like, hey, who are all these engineers in my life? And just hit them up and be like, hey, can I talk to you for 30 minutes? Just to understand the world. So old me would have been irritated, being like, damn, after I talked to the first engineer and they didn't want to work with me, oh, this is the end of the world. This project isn't going to work. But talking to those 6 was able to be like, okay, this is the type of software developer that I need. And then being able to make the Facebook post being like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And then Teddy being like, hey, I can help. And I'm like, word, okay. And then, but talking to those developers and engineers and architects was able to help me have the words to be able to describe what it is that I needed from Teddy. So thinking about that old information that was helpful to help with the new information. So
Yes,
it's a lesson that I'm learning. It's a new lesson, but it's slapping me over the head a lot more. slapping me, but I'm learning.
I was gonna say everything is a process, and I love that because it's like you basically had to do research at that point to get which, like you said, to get exactly what you really wanted, and even how you phrased it, like beautifully, to ask for what you actually wanted versus like, hey guys, I need an engineer, and then getting 1,000 different types of engineers, and it's like, okay, well, I need someone that can do a computer thing.
Right, yeah. Like I was talking to a hardware like engineer, and he was like, Dream, I'm not the person for you, but let me tell you how to talk to software engineers.
Sick.
And then I was talking to software engineers, and they were like, okay, you need a software engineer with this type of skill set. I'm like, okay, great. Didn't know that. YouTube isn't helping me. Google is confusing me. So being able to have these moments to be able to be like, okay, like I can refine, and then be very clear about what it is that I'm looking for. Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show. Pivoting just a bit, I was
Mhm.
curious to know about your hair journey. You've been watching me build this platform and you've graciously lended your time to be a tester of my platform, critiquing my
Yes.
platform to just build it better, be better. And which I've been truly, truly thankful. And I wanted to know, do you have a favorite memory of falling in love with your hair?
My favorite memory. To give a little background about my hair journey, I went natural in like 2019, 2020.
Mm.
I like to jokingly say that it was like accidental because I was in college. And before college, I was getting like texturizers and stuff, and I would only get braids for the summer. And then for the most part, I would have like a texturizer, wash and set type of thing throughout the year. But at school, I was very particular though about who I went to go get my hair done by. So when I got to college, I would, for the most part, like sometimes have a wash and set and then just get it braided. And then the braids just became more convenient and the texturizer like grew out. It was interesting. I started to like how my hair felt at the root
Mm.
when when it was time to touch up the texturizer. And then I would get the texturizer and I would feel my roots and I'd be like, oh, it's gone. Um, and
Oh.
that was just such a yeah, like it was such an interesting like I didn't I again I never did my own hair. Like I was not that type of girly. And so the fact that I would even touch it, I'd be like, damn, like it just used to feel nice to me. And then I think day in college, my friend, she was like, yeah, you should like really let me wash your hair. And I was like, okay, sure. And she did, and she like tried to style it. And that was the first time like I think someone talking to me about my hair,
Mm.
like just a little bit more in depth, because again, my mom in the same boat. My mom goes to get her hair done. She doesn't do like the chemicals anymore neither, but for the longest it was the same thing. Like you get texturized, you get your braids, you get a ponytail, you do this, you do that, but never the one to do our own hair. My mom can braid though, which I think is kind of funny. I started braiding my brother's hair like not too long ago, and I'm like, girl, I haven't seen you do hair in so long. But yeah, so she was just telling me, and she was like, "Yeah, dude." She showed me. She's like, "This is all your like natural hair growth," and then she
Mm.
showed me my ends, and she's like, "All of this, though, you got to cut it." And that used to scare me. I used to hate getting my hair trimmed. Like it took me the longest to be okay with trimming my hair because I was just like, I don't know, obsessed with the thought. I'm like, no, it needs to be like long, and I have to keep it long. If it's too short, like I don't know if I'm gonna like it short. It didn't look right. It just
Mm.
didn't look right. It was like stringy at the end, and then this like curly kind of thick bush going on underneath. And I was just like, okay. And then I went home and I told I at first I was just like gonna let my friend just cut it. And again, I was still kind of heavy under my mom's influence. So
Mm.
I asked my mom first. Mind you, I'm in college. And I was like, yeah. And it wasn't an ask, but it was an ask because I was running it by her. And she was like, no. And I was like, word. She's like, if you want to do that, come home, get a wash and set, let them do it. And I was like, okay. So that's what I did. And I didn't get another texturizer. I told her, I think I'm done with that. She's like, okay, fair. And after that, it was like, I was just kind of like curious. And it was the perfect timing. We went until the shutdown thing, and I was still at school.
Mm.
And like, I just had the time and means to like just learn, okay, how to wash my own hair and to tangle my own hair. And the person I was with at the time, like, introduced me like, oh, you can twist it and do like a twist out. And like, she gave me finger coils. And I was like, this is such a cute, like, little style. And I didn't have to like go to a salon and like moments like that. I think during that time, I think is when I was falling in love with it. I
Mm.
still wasn't comfortable yet, I think, with it. And that was only because like it hit a point where I had to like really do it myself. And I'm like, does this look okay? And I think the first time I did the twist out, it was a super tight twist out. I never got it as tight because I didn't do it myself. But when I took it out and I just had my hair and whatever pattern came from like this twist and whatnot, and I was able to just go outside. And I was just like, this is cute. And I remember when I was younger, there was moments where I used to like that as well. But it was only right when I took my braids out, was the only time I had like this fluffy fro. And then typically that meant, okay, what are you going to do with it now?
Mm.
But still at that point, it wasn't quote unquote completely natural. And now I can do that. And it just feels lovely and it feels nice. And that feeling that I used to like feeling is like all throughout my hair. And
Mm.
sometimes like I'll fidget with my hair and I'm like, because it feels so nice to just touch, I feel like.
And this friend in college, was she also a fellow Black woman?
She was a fellow Black woman who, for the longest, did her own hair anyways.
Mm. Now today, in years after the pandemic, are there certain hairstyles or resources that you love?
I I love my fro still.
Mm.
It just feels very carefree and freeing. I also realized again, growing up not being the girly to like, let me do my own hair and my own stuff and my own I'm very low maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So I like low maintenance styles that are still like super cute and whatnot. So it's definitely my fro. And then the past few years, I like kind of called it my own little staple style because it's like a go-to that I love doing, but it's like box braids that are short,
Mm.
shoulder length box braids. And then what you do is you put rubber bands around the ends. I like to do a bunch of colorful rubber bands because I think that's cute. But rubber bands around the ends. And instead of dipping the hair like you usually do, you don't dip it and you just kind of blunt cut the ends.
Mm.
So like sometimes I go to the shops. At first when I started doing it, they used to kind of look at me like, "What?" But the when it comes out, it's super nice. The ends look like paintbrushes, like they fan out like paintbrushes with the hair typically. So now you have like the super short cut with these super cute ends, and then you can kind of style it how you want it
That sounds
on the
beautiful.
ground. Yeah, put the colors in there.
And your hair is art. And your hair is art.
Exactly. Now you got a statement piece, but you can wear all black.
Hey. Well, Moore, thank you so much for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories with me. I truly, truly appreciate you taking the time out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love doing stuff like this. And you're super easy to talk to. I feel like this is great. I'm like, why wasn't this already a thing?
That come on. Give me some like motivation. I love
What are you doing? No, I'm kidding.
it.
No, I think it's great, and I love to see everything that you do. I'm gonna share it because I don't know if your people's who's listening out there know yet. But one of the things that made me, and I think we were just talking on the phone. Also, I forgot what it was for, but it made me smile really hard, and it was just one of those moments that again made me feel like I inspiration, just like admire and love seeing everything that you do. And you say one thing, and I turn around, and then I turn back around, and it's like, hey, I'm doing this. But I believe you're in, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in a country in Africa, and you're either talking about something you did earlier that week or you're going to do, but you went swimming with manatees?
uh no. I went swimming
No.
with seals.
All right.
But I
So this
was
is
in
the
South
better.
Africa. Yeah.
I think that's amazing. Just to toss it out there, the type of stuff that you just sprinkle in there every now and then. I'm just like, I gotta put that on the list.
Oh, well,
Please.
that means a lot. I think I'm learning that what I want to do is possible, even if it takes time.
Of course. Of course. I
Well,
can't wait to see it all.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I, of course, would love your continued support. Let me know what you think of this episode by doing all the things. Subscribe, comment, and come back next week, every week. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Or if you are like me, enjoy that moonlight and that one star under all your city lights. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
Well, I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a person to record? Go. We support her. Shit. Do your.
Welcome to the chair.
Well,
This dream always had